The number one YouTuber pushing this Latinos didn't help create hip hop false narrative is Lord Jamar. Lord Jamar has gone on and on saying FBA are the sole creators of hip hop. Latinos, Puerto Ricans had nothing to do with the creation of hip hop. Well, I just came across a clip, and thanks to the listener who DM'd it to me, because I would have never found this. I just got a clip of Lord Jamar saying the exact opposite. In fact, I am about to play a clip from 4 years ago of Lord Jamar saying Puerto Ricans are black. A lot of you FBA are about to start punching the air right now like Trey was doing them Boys in the Hood. Let's go back 4 years ago when Lord Jamar was on a little-known podcast titled Drink Champs.
First of all, Latinos was down with this shit from the beginning. Okay, shout out people like Prince Whipple Whip. Okay, shout out Charlie Chase. Shout out motherfucking
Crazy Legs.
What's my nigga from Crazy Legs? Shout out my niggas from the Furious 5, Tito. You know what I mean? Niggas like that, like Puerto Ricans and all of that. First of all, they're black people. Let's not get it twisted. Like we got dropped off at different islands and shit like that.
Cubans
it all started.
Cubans is blacker than me.
It all started in Africa, okay? Right. Now, when you're on an island, though, the grafting process goes faster because you have a smaller geographical area. So, if the slave master starts intertwining with
phone that is,
with the slaves, they're gonna get lighter and lighter at a faster rate. Whereas in America, it's a bigger geographical area, so. You know, the slave master was definitely intertwining, but it was spread out more. Right. Whereas you have certain islands where they just damn near try to milk it all the way. They try to graft it like the shit was Patmos. Right. You understand? So, Puerto Ricans, Hispanics have been down with this from the beginning, and I don't separate Puerto Ricans and Hispanic. So when I say this,
we want answers, Lord Jamar. The FBA community, which I guess I'm part of too, whether I like it or not. I guess that's how that works. But we want answers, Lord Jamar. Because he's one of the only ones, and I'm not coming at Lord Jamar. I do kind of dig what he does, except when he goes on that flat Earth stuff, and then he goes on a podcast where someone who's knows about the subject a lot more than he does, grills him on it and makes him look like a silly guy. But I'm not going at Lord Jamar because I do, for the most part, like what he does. I like Brand Nubian back in the day. You better love me or leave me alone. That was them, right? But we want answers, Lord Jamar, because all I've been hearing you say for the past, I don't know, year, two, go 2, right? Last 2 years is that Latinos weren't even around. They were someplace else playing bongos and stuff like that. But here you are on the Drink Champs with Nori saying something totally different.
So when I say this, first of all, Latinos was down with this shit from the beginning. Okay, shout out people like Prince Whipple Whip. Okay, shout out Charlie Chase. Shout out motherfucking
Crazy Legs.
What's my nigga from Crazy Legs? Shout out my niggas from the Furious 5, Tito. You know what I mean? Niggas like that, like Puerto Ricans and all of that. First of all, they're black people. Let's not get it twisted.
I mean, this is something that I've always thought and always known myself. But I feel like I've been hearing Lord Jamar say something totally different these last couple of years. and this may not be exposing Lord Jamar. I'm sure many people have already came across this clip. And like I said, no one else has ever talked about it, at least to my knowledge, on YouTube. And I did a thorough search before I hopped in this mic. But I think it's very contradictory to what he is saying now, that Latinos weren't around. They were somewhere wearing cowboy boots and tight rolled up pants and playing merengue and like what. When he says something totally different, here.
First of all, Latinos was down with this shit from the beginning. Okay?
Down from the beginning. Doesn't get much more clear than that. How can someone who's been down from the beginning, because beginning has a specific definition, right? The beginning is the beginning. Because do I need to go to dictionary.com? There's only one definition. How is someone going to be there from the beginning but have zero influence on it? Make that make sense, Lord Jamar. Make it make sense, fam. Make that comment make sense.
First of all, Latinos was down with this shit from the beginning. Okay? Shout out people like Prince Whipple Whip. Okay? Shout out Charlie Chase. Shout out motherfucking
Crazy Legs.
What's my nigga from Crazy Legs? Shout out my niggas from the Furious 5, Tito. You know what I mean?
He just mentioned a bunch of pioneers and pioneering groups. Furious 5. They're from the beginning. Latinos in groups, Latinos in breaking groups and graffiti groups. But what? But they had zero influence on the creation, on the direction, on anything hip hop? Is that what you're telling me, Lord Jamar? Or are you telling
First of all, Latinos was down with this shit from the beginning. Okay? Shout out people like Prince Whipple Whip. Okay? Shout out Charlie Chase. Shout out motherfucking
Crazy Legs.
What's my nigga from Crazy Legs? Shout out my niggas from the Furious 5, Tito. You know what I mean? Niggas like that. Like
But now it's Puerto Ricans had zero influence on hip hop. When in this clip, he clearly says they were there from the beginning. And not only that,
Puerto Ricans and all of that. First of all, they're black people.
Yeah.
Let's not get it twisted.
let's not get it twisted. Puerto Ricans are black. This is something that I grew up knowing myself. I've known a lot of Puerto Ricans. And they would identify with black over anything, over white any day. But you let this group called FBA, you let them tell it, and Latinos didn't like blacks. They didn't like the black culture. They were nowhere near us. They hated. They were calling us mean words. And some probably were. But if you were a teenager in 1973 in mother effing NYC, specifically the Bronx, if you were a teenager, you were involved and you loved this thing that will be later called hip hop. So stop with this false narrative, FBA. Your leader, and I'm only calling him your leader because he's the main one I see on YouTube with this narrative. There are other YouTubers out there, even certain ones who keep my name in their mouth that I could mention, but they're not like, no one really cares about them and like no one would know who they are. But people know who Lord Jamar is. from his music and from his popular YouTube channel. Here's your leader saying,
first of all, Latinos was down with this shit from the beginning. Okay, shout out people like Prince Whipple Whip. Okay, shout out Charlie Chase. Shout out motherfucking
Crazy Legs.
What's my nigga from Crazy Legs? Shout out my niggas from the Furious 5, Tito. You know what I mean? Niggas like that, like Puerto Ricans and all of that. First of all, they're black people. Yeah. Let's not get it twisted. Like,
I'm gonna stop it right there. And I would love your comments below, and I know you're gonna comment below because you have nothing better to do than to go on YouTube and talk trash and watch videos that upset you so much that you feel the need to comment below. So go ahead, get your kicks off, you YouTube gangsters, you keyboard killers. Come at me, talk to me. Am I tripping? Let me know. Do you agree with me? But what do you think about Lord Jamar saying 4 years ago that Latinos were down since the beginning? Something that him and this group called FBA are saying that no, they weren't around. They weren't around. But comment down below. Let me know. And please hit that like button if you haven't already. And if this is your first time joining the channel and you like what you hear, hit that subscribe button. We want answers, Lord Jamar. Wait, I think I did that wrong. Anyway, something else I wanted to talk with you about right here on DustyVisionTV. Should we ban the N-word? Now, I know this topic has been brought up in the past by other YouTubers, including myself. But serious question. Should we as black people ban the N-word? I took an Uber drive recently. And like I do always, if I'm going to be in the Uber for a long time, and I was going to be in an Uber for a long time, I was going from LA to Orange County, pretty deep in Orange County. So like I usually do, I asked the Uber driver if I could connect my phone to his Bluetooth. And he did. He let me. And as we're driving there, something hit me and it kind of bothered me. And it got me thinking, should we ban the N-word? From the drive from Los Angeles to Orange County, deep in Orange County, I heard the N-word in various songs at least 80 times. No exaggeration. At least 80 times. And all I could think about while I was hearing the N-word being repeated, the N-word, my N-word, I shot that N-word. When all I could think about was the white guy who was driving the Uber and what he was thinking. Oh, Dusty Vision, you shouldn't care about what other people think. Yes, I should. And that's where a lot of you people go wrong. You should care about what other people think. As a matter of fact, you should care about what the majority of people out there think about you. You should. I'm sorry. I know it's a cute thing to say. You don't care about what anybody say. I don't give a fuck what anybody say. No, you kind of should. Next time you hear someone say, I don't give a F when anybody says, look at that person and judge their life and look at their life, and I guarantee they're probably a loser. Anyone who says, I don't care what other people think, all right, I see why, man. You 38, still live with mom, and you're still banging and still doing dumb shit. I see you don't give a F what people think. I get it. You got tattoos on your face, bro. I could tell you don't give an F. But all I could think about while this white man was driving me in an Uber from Los Angeles to Orange County was, dang, man, how many times has this guy heard the N-word just today by my music? And I wasn't listening to like gangster rap. It was nah. I mean, there was maybe a DJ Quick song in there, other than that. But no, I was listening to some pretty legit lyricists. Just say the N-word, And look, I'm not a sensitive guy to things like that, but it makes me wonder what other races think when they hear the N-word 80 times on a 52-minute Uber drive. I mean, do the math. That's like the N-word like every 10 seconds or something like that. It's crazy. My math might be off on that, but you get what I'm saying. 80 times at a 52-minute Uber drive, that's a lot of N-words. And I'm listening to the Kendrick album on the way up there. Love that album. GNX. Bump it. Still bump it. I'm still bumping it. But he says the N-word in there a lot. And it's just something that, it's a thought I pondered. Is that the word I'm looking for? It's a thought that entered my head. Should we ban this word? I think we should. When we stop acting like N-words and using the N-word as a term of endearment, they will stop treating us like N-words. That's right. I've never been a fan of the N-word being used as a term of endearment. Maybe when I was in my teens. I take that back. Teens, early 20s. But I hit a certain age, and I'm no better than you. I'm no better than anybody out there. But I just cared about what society thought about me. So I stopped saying the N-word. And why I think about myself, because there is powers in words. Spelling, it's a spell. You spell, come on now, y'all know that. I'm not going to get too deep on you. But dude, you go around calling yourself the N-word, eventually you're going to act N-word-ish. Eventually, people are going to start treating you like an N-word because you don't care, because you're an N-word that don't give an F. So there was a point in my life, and it even sounds weird for me to say it right now. And I say it in satire when I'm joking or something, but when I'm calling my friend, I'm like, yeah, what up, my nigga? Like, I'm just not saying it. It even sounds weird when I say it. I haven't said it in so long. It hasn't been in my vocabulary in 20 years. I just don't care for it. I don't care when people use it. And I really don't like when I see a group of black dudes standing around in a circle, smoking a fatty, and they're just dropping the N-bomb over and over and over again. And white folks, the races, they're just walking by like, okay, so they're happy to be N-words. Well, I guess I'll treat them like such. You think they don't think this? Come on, man. You know they think this. Not most of them, you piece of trash. Most white folks are cool as hell. You know what I'm talking about. The ones that are like that, it only reassures it and only gives them more reason to treat you like one. I don't care for that word. And it's only as of recent that word became a term of endearment. Before NWA in the 80s, no one was calling himself the N-word as a term of endearment. When they called someone the N-word, they were calling, man, what's up, man? What's up, man? Like it was all, you were the enemy. You were like a piece of trash N-word. That's what it was. Go back to people who are in their 50s and 60s and 70s now. When they were growing up, nah, man, N-word, that was not in their vocabulary. Unless they were talking about that N-word that robbed them. Yeah, man, don't be hanging around with Tyrell. That N-word be robbing him up, man. That's how they referred to N-words. It wasn't like, that's my N-word. I love him. I'm going to die for him. I love him, man. That's my N-word. Oh, that wasn't until the 80s, man. You young kids who think that's been around forever. 'Cause I'm still old enough a little bit. I was 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 when I was in the 80s, but I still know shit. I remember shit. I talked to people. I researched. Ain't nobody before NWA popularized the N-word. Straight up. They had a group called NWA. N-words with attitude. Man, could you imagine how that went over back then? Because once again, people weren't walking around N-wording each other like that. Nowadays, you release a group called NWA, yeah, join the line. There's 17 others. But back then, NWA, no, wait, what? And they were ran by a Jewish dude named Jerry Heller, who was representing them. Wait, what? Yes, take your. That's why NWA is so revolutionary, because they were doing things. They did things like that. I mean, the name right away. The name was controversial as heck. And I used to love hearing the newscasters, because NWA made news all the time at the beginning. Who is this group out of Compton who has the balls to call themselves NWA? N-words with attitude. And they would say sometime they would say the first word. And they would either use an A, niggas, or they would use an ER, ngers. With attitude. They're this new popular group out of Compton, California. A small town in Los Angeles County with 70,000 people, full of Crips and Bloods. And they are their representatives. And tonight we're doing a special on them because they are selling tapes. They've sold 5 million copies without any radio play. We want to see what's behind this. That's how all the newscasters sounded. That kind of sounds like me, huh? Damn, I didn't have to change my voice that much. My damn nasally ass annoying voice. Screw you anyway. But anybody out there who agreed with me, by the way. But NWA, man, they were, and look, I got Eazy-E right behind me. One of my favorites. NWA was the reason I fell in love with hip-hop. Hearing Eazy-E's voice on Boys in the Hood, I was like, okay, I need more of this. Hearing those beats that Dre and Yellow were putting together. Hearing Ice Cube. I said I needed more of this. And after that, I was all in. And it's very ironic that the first group that made me fall in love with hip-hop, literally NWA, is a group that now I wouldn't even agree with their name. So I can only imagine how 40-year-olds were feeling back then hearing NWA, especially 40-year-old black folks. Could you imagine that? First time I ever heard what NWA stood for was from a Mexican dude, Latino. I asked him, I said, he had an NWA hat on. I hadn't put two and two together, that Eazy-E, NWA. So I was, what does NWA mean? Or, I don't know where we saw NWA. Maybe it was on a tape or something. I think he was wearing a hat. Could be wrong. But I said, what does NWA stand for? He said, niggas with attitude. I said, okay. And it was nothing. It was like, then we talked about going get some fries at the burger stand right after that. There was no racism or anything behind it. It was just, I asked him a question. He gave me an answer. He probably didn't even know what niggas meant. He probably, now looking back, I bet he didn't even know what niggas meant. Because at that time, I was living in a mostly Hispanic, predominantly Mexican neighborhood. No one was dropping the M-bomb. Maybe the parents. No, they would call us, yate, little black bug. Well, they wouldn't say it to my face, but yeah, I'm sure I was called that quite a few times living in some of the neighborhoods that I lived in by very certain people. That's the other funny part, man. I'm not going to use the word grew up. I lived in a predominantly Hispanic area for some very significant years of my life. I mean, middle school. That's pretty significant, right? End of elementary, right into middle school, and end of middle school, almost going into high school. I lived in a Hispanic neighborhood, Bell Gardens, city of Bell Gardens, a city that is near and dear to my heart to this day. I still visit Bell Gardens. My favorite burrito joint is in Bell Gardens, so I always go there. Shout out to Los Altos right there on Eastern and Florence, right there by the Big Five used to be right there. Y'all remember the Big Five, dog? Everybody remembers the Big Five. They got the food for less, son. But I never experienced flat out racism. Isn't as being, and look, I know I'm light right now because it's wintertime and it's cold as hell, but I get dark as hell. I get dark during the summer, like dark. My credit score goes down. I get pulled over by cops more. I leave my baby mama. Like during the summertime, I get dark as hell, and I never experienced racism. I can't think of in Bell Gardens. Now, when I moved to Downey, whoo, man, they still had some racist white folk there just for a little bit. That was like the trail end of Downey having white people, Caucasian folks there, and they did not like the influx of the brown folks and black folks coming in to Downey. And there were some, I experienced racism at Downey High School my freshman year. And then after that, it was pretty much, and now even today, it's Downey's all brown. They should call it Brownie. Hey, Downey is Brownie. Yeah. But I love that about it. They call it the Mexican Beverly Hills. I don't know how I feel about that, but, whatever. It's a nice city. But long story short, I didn't experience racism in Bell Gardens with predominantly Hispanic folks, but I did when I went to Downey. And that's for my friends out there who think blacks and browns don't get along, or you hear this other false narrative on YouTube that blacks and browns don't get along. Man, blacks and browns get along perfectly fine. Now, if you're a gangster in the streets and you live a certain lifestyle and you adhere to a certain code, then yeah, it's probably not. It's not the same way. But if you are an average, regular civilian and you live next to a Hispanic person or a black person, odds are you guys get along very, very well. But I don't know how I trailed off or why I even trailed off into that. But NWA popularized a word that I think is detrimental to us, and we really need to stop calling each other that because it mentally makes you feel niggerish. You feel you want to feel like an N-word that don't give an F. And no, I'm not no N-word that don't give an F. I'm not. I give an F. I got a house. I got a family. I got things I got to take care of, yo. So I give an F. I give a big F. Man, that sounded weird, didn't it? Anyway, whatever. But comment down below. Let me know. What do you think? Am I tripping when I was in that Uber ride and I was listening to some of my favorite rappers say the N-word 80 times on an Uber ride that was about 52 minutes? Am I tripping that I wanted to know what the white guy was thinking and what he thinks about us using this word so freely? Am I tripping? Comment down below. Let me know. Should we ban the N-word? Should we just take this word out of our vocabulary? 'Cause I'm all for that too. But let me know. I want to know what you guys think. Comment down below. And please hit that like button if you haven't already. And if this is your first time joining the channel and you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button. Something else I want to talk with you about. Would love your thoughts on this. Did the street life ruin the Los Angeles club scene? See, I'm a little too... Actually, I still remember the remnants, the tail end of this. But, man, back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, or up into before, unfortunately, bass rock and crack hit, there were clubs all over L.A. And, of course, the red and the blue, because that ruined when people met each other in clubs. And, no, they're dressed in all blue. That person's dressed in all red. Now, next thing you know, there's a shootout in the parking lot and someone's getting shot. I mean... But did the street life ruin clubs in Los Angeles? I want your thoughts on this. My co-host and I, Alonzo Williams, who I do a show with every single Tuesday, older gentleman. He owned clubs back in the day, several. One was predominantly featured in Straight Outta Compton, Eve After Dark, Dudos. He owned a few different clubs in Los Angeles, and he comes from a time where, before gangs, where you could actually go out on a Friday, Saturday night with your chick, dance all night with your chick at a club, and not have to worry about it getting shot up. But let's listen in on part of our show from last Tuesday. Did the street life, street folks, gangs, B's, C's, blue team, red team, whatever you want to call them, ruin the club life in Los Angeles?
Territory, technically, it wasn't that, it wasn't that heavy of a, at that time, it wasn't that heavy in the gang situation. And because I was running things and everybody knew I was kind of a neutral dude, they treated the club accordingly, and me as well. So I had to say this, man, because when you sometimes people forget that Compton was not always gangster. LA was not always gangster. Music was not always not gangster. And only a handful of groups that came in before then were able to hold on to that situation, because gangster music came in like smoke, choked everything out.
Everything.
All the party music was gone. All the New Jack was gone. Think about that, man. New Jack was the hottest shit ever came out. Come on, man. Come on.
All that stuff.
All that shit was blazing, man.
Y'all remember that time? I missed that time. The era right before gangster rap hit, which I loved gangster rap. Don't get me wrong. I loved it, but I enjoyed what I call the house party generation. Just before that, with the baggy clothes, the crisscross clothes and the cross colors, bright ass colors, crazy funky hairdos, Heavy D and the boys doing flips and shit, dancing. Now that we found love, what are we gonna do with it? Come on. That was such a good time. The house party generation. Go back and watch the movie House Party with Kid and Play, Martin Lawrence, Gina from Martin, and the fine darker sister who was in there. I liked her better. Cherise. Cherise. From House Party. But watch that movie, and that's what I'm talking about. That era right there, guys, was so much fun. So much fun. And I just missed it because I was the end of that era and I was more tailing into the gangster rap. So everything changed when gangster rap hit. The clothing, the music, everything changed when gangster rap hit. But here we are, me and Alonzo talking about the tail end of the house party generation. And when gangster rap came in, it just put a chokehold on everything. That's all anybody wanted.
This girl is poison, then nothing.
All of a sudden, nothing, dude. You went from house party to Boys in the Hood overnight.
Yeah.
You went from a house party, Gumby haircuts, brothers dancing, to sweating and shit, to everybody mugging, mean mugging. Everybody talking about killing each other. Come on, man. The transition of the streets was just traumatic, man. It was like, huh? What happened? Everybody started shooting each other. Everybody started killing. Everybody started looking all crazy. You couldn't go no place. It was just, and then my newest book is called Where the Party At. I talk about this in my newest book. I'm writing it right now, man. Where the Party At, and how at one time LA had over 140 some clubs around the city, man, over a period of time that you can go to. You can't go nowhere, and a lot of those clubs were shut down behind street activity. I'm not gonna say gang, it's street activity.
140 something clubs LA once had. There are no clubs in LA right now. There are places you can dance, yes. There are no clubs. There are no, especially and 100 out of 143, though, some of those were in the hood. Some of those were in Compton. Once again, going back to Eve After Dark. So people would actually go to the hoods to dance and party and have a great time before the street life took over. Now there's no place to go shake your ass.
Street activity, okay? Folks see somebody that they know. Now, check this out. Can't nobody party in the hood because everybody know who's going to be in the hood partying. So everybody from the hood go outside the hood on both sides to try and get away from the hood, and then the hood is there waiting on you.
That's how it was, man. Go to Hollywood. See, that I remember that when I used to party in Hollywood in the 90s. You go to Hollywood thinking you're good. Ain't nobody out here tripping, and then you go to club Dublin's, and then you got Crips on one side, Bloods on one side, Essays on another side. You're like, damn, this shit is full of motherfuckers not from Hollywood. It's full of everybody else from everywhere else but Hollywood. Facts.
The same cats you trying to get away from in your neighborhood, or your ops, as they say, that you tried to get away from in the hood, they all got cars. They all know how to drive the freeway. Here they are at the Century Club. Here they are at Osco's. Here they are at some other club, and the beef is still on.
And something else I just thought of as I'm looking at a comment. They don't slow dance in clubs anymore. Dude, when I was in the 90s, the DJ would end it with the slow jam. All right, now, grab your lady, grab the one you've been talking to all night now. We gonna end it with Jodeci, Freak It, baby. Oh, yeah. Freak it, baby. You know it just like, let me lick you up and down till you say stop. And then you like, man, you right here. I'm about to go home with this honey. You take her home. Nobody slow jams anymore at the clubs. You don't see slow jams at clubs anymore. Think about that. I still go out with me and my lady. We like to go out. We like to find places, safe places to shake her, shake her tail feather. We ain't slow danced in a club and since we got together. No more slow jams in clubs. That's crazy. I just thought about that. Thanks to whoever commented on that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that was one of the problems we had. Nobody ever drew a line in the no-fly zone. Hey man, we can't do this up here. We can't do this at this school. We can't do this at this club because we can touch this. We fight tonight at this club. Tomorrow it's gonna be a laundromat.
And that's what happened. There was nobody to draw a line and say, "Yo, let's not do that here." Because if we do that here, we have nowhere to party. If we do that here, this club will be a laundromat next week. And damn it, there's a lot. Let's just say there's a ton of laundromats in the city of Los Angeles that were probably clubs back in the day.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. That's what happened. If you fight at Cerritos skating ring, if we started hitting that Cerritos, I'm in a documentary called United Skates. And they show you how skating rinks got shut down. Most of the time, it was never the people that came to skate. It was never them. It was always the guys in the parking lot.
Guys, you don't remember. If you're not a certain age, I'd say 40 and above, you don't know about or remember the skating rink. Yes, there's skating rinks everywhere. They have skating rinks still to this day. But in the 90s, a skating rink was the thing. And I'm sure in the 80s and 70s, it definitely was. Bounce, rock, skate, all that. That was all skating songs. Skating as in roller skates, man. Such a good time. And when I was a kid in the 90s, that's what I did. I went to Skate Depot and Cerritos. I went to Skate Orama and Downey. There were a bunch of different skate places all over L.A., and guess what happened? Once again, as I mentioned, you're there skating. You're there to have a good time and skate with your chick or skate with the girl you just met, scamming with or whatever. And then who's skating right next to you with the blue rag out of his pocket? Or who's skating right next to him with the red rag out of his? And then who gets to fighting on skates? You ever seen two gangsters fight on skates? I have. I have. Oh, yeah. It's pretty funny. But that's what closed down the skating rink, man. That was such a good time, man, that the street life just ruined.
Because skaters come from all over, because the places to go skate at a good rink are far and few between.
Mm-hmm.
And skaters come from all over. So when skaters show up, sometimes skaters may take off their chucks and put on a pair of skates, and they come from another hood. All of a sudden you walk outside and they go, "Your ops."
Right in the parking lot. The parking lot that's where of course, there's chicks in there, so you wanted to kind of mingle with the chicks, but you also had to kind of keep look around, because that's where it went down. And the skating rink was in the parking lot, especially in the 90s when it was at its worst. You had to keep one eye on the chick and one eye to make sure dude across the way wasn't about to pull that weapon on old boy. And then sometime, guess what happened? Dude didn't end up pulling that weapon, cleared out the whole parking lot. And if that happens so many times, guess what happens? Guess what this skate, if I'm not mistaken, Skate Depot is now a furniture store. Somebody look it up. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I'm in that general area. I'm in the 562 area quite often. So next time I pass by, I'm gonna check it out. But I think that old Skate Depot is a furniture store now. You know why? Because the city of Cerritos don't play. And if they keep getting incidents and calls about some shit going down in the parking lot, and it ain't from people who live in the city, guess what? That furniture store is sounding nice and appealing right now. What do you think? Comment down below. Am I tripping? Did the street life destroy the club scene in Los Angeles? Let me know. And please, hit that like button if you haven't already. And if this is your first time joining the channel and you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.